Hello, everybody. I hope your weekend is going well. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and welcome. If it's your first time here, this is our weekend collective, and we're going to cover a lot of really cool things today, including a special topic, which is all about rekindling your power, which is amazing. So thank you so much for that. To get the exact topic name here, it is the dragon, and it's rekindling your fire, your passion, your energy. So more to come on that in just a couple moments here. I always like to begin with channeled messages first. Thank you so much to everybody for being patient this morning. I am so over time changes, right? Our biological clock does not want or need that. It was really more of an agricultural thing and a commerce thing before electricity. And it serves no purpose on a greater level. I mean, I like the extra hour of daylight, but I'd be happy to stick with one time year round. So like the rest of you, I'm a little tired this morning, but I'm doing my best here, and I'm so happy to be with you. And one of the cool things with this is it always raises the energy and the frequency. So it's good to be here together. We'll push through this clock change. I know many of you in Europe, it doesn't happen for another week or so. And some parts of the world are smart and don't do this. So hopefully one of these days we'll get there. Channeled messages are what comes first. And I primarily pull this through dreams, but also through meditation. So we'll take a look at all of that. And yeah, Mr. Apollo's in the background grooming himself after a walk. And the weather has a big effect on pets because this is the first day he's been able to kind of like walk outside without all the rain. So I took him for an extra walk. Hopefully that'll be enough. Again, back to channeled messages. Today we'll be focusing a little bit on the dragon and then also on what I was picking up on this morning before I knew about the topic. So let me go ahead and get that presentation pulled up and we will begin. All right, let's go. The channeled messages for today. The first thing that I was picking up on was kind of like chasing after the past or chasing ghosts. And then also there's going to be this sort of big sprint of energy coming right around spring, which is equinox, which is about a week or so away, or fall. Whether it's fall or spring, it really doesn't matter. Equinox is kind of cool because it's an equal amount of light, an equal amount of time. We'll do something special around that when it comes through. The ability to have a thick skin. And then also looking at the dragon as a metaphor for the magician, since it kind of, in Chinese philosophy and mythology, there's all the different elements, and it reminded me a lot of the magician. So let's break this down and take a look at it. All right, so interestingly enough, foggy morning here, and in my dreams, I was seeing a lot of fog. And there was this feeling like you were chasing after someone or something, and right around the time that you were ready to get it, it kind of evaporated. And I love the Six of Swords, but one of the things that it teaches us is that movement is key to growth and success and healing. The Four of Swords and Six of Swords carry different energies of letting go and moving on. And so Four of Swords is letting go, and it takes time to also mourn. And the Six of Swords is that turning point at which you're ready to get back out there, just like we were taking a walk this morning. Try something different and see what the world has to offer. Planning, dreaming, charting a new adventure, these are the kind of starting points. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to take the first step today, but thinking about what else might be is important. And especially as we get very close to the equinox here, we want to make sure that we're starting to look at potential, look at possibilities. And, speaking of rain, and I see we have some folks from like Ireland and everything, it's so lush and green. Not that we always have green in Los Angeles, but like there are emerald colors that don't always exist here because we've been pummeled with rain over the past couple of months. And, as you go through difficulties in your life or changes in your life, you eventually get to that emerald green growth. And I think that's what's on the horizon for many of us. It's just pushing through the rainy days. I keep putting that up there as a potential topic, but I think people don't always want to look at the rainbow. So I'll keep putting it intermittently, and one of these days it'll get there. But for now, the main message here is to focus on potential and also action right here, right now. We can't change could have, should have, would have. We can learn why it happened. We can choose not to let it happen again, but we can't go back and rewind. And so let's start to chart a course towards the future, especially over the next 7 days. As I said, equinox is coming through. I was shown the image of a relay race when I was meditating, and it reminded me of the aces, particularly the Ace of Wands, because it's literally a baton, and it's called batons in some suits. So as you get this idea, this energy, as we start to rekindle your passion or your fire, the next step is just basically showing up and doing something with it. So the universe is asking you, are you ready for the next part in the relay race? So we had power, strength, and passion. So the passion is there, but we have to start to put some power behind it, some energy behind it as well. The cool thing with the relay race is it is not something that is all on its own. You don't have to do it all on your own, I should say. You get to coordinate your energy and your efforts with others. And the main thing here is that there are two different parts, and they've been set up for you. The one is the ace that's presenting itself. You get to carry it to the next level, and then there'll be someone else to either, like, they might be interested. You might get an Ace of Pentacles coming through for your Ace of Wands, but you get something else in the future. So you're the conduit, but you have to travel your part of the relay race. And that's the message. So we have two cards of movement. One is dreaming, thinking, and maybe actually taking the first step. And the next one is showing up and doing the daily work, which will be basically what constitutes the next. This is the big card for the next 7 days. Now, as you start to put yourself out there again, there's always going to be feedback. There's always going to be opinions. And the thing is, there's a difference between constructive feedback and just opinion for opinion's sake. There are a lot of people that will state an opinion as a fact, when in fact it's just an opinion. It's just their thoughts. And the more you start to do something important, the more it may kind of create friction. So really tune in and think, is there a constructive element to it? Is there factual pieces to this? Or is it simply just what someone feels? Just because you feel it, it doesn't make it a fact. And this is something that's gotten lost in today's sort of like world, because there's so many opinion-based things out there. So if you're getting flooded with a lot of opinions, it might be because you're doing something well or something right. We have the Six of Wands here. Increased visibility means increased scrutiny. Increased scrutiny carries with it both good feedback and then opinions, and sometimes even difficult feedback. And you have to take the good with the bad. Keep moving forward if it feels right and if you're making a difference. Remember that popularity and success are subjective. One of the things that, by the way, we'll be doing a Celtic Cross today. I listened to feedback, but I like to change it up. And this will continue to change, buckle your seatbelts, because I like to do different things on this channel. That's how the shorts started. When I started that, people were like, I don't like it. Now people like it. So we get used to things, then we get comfortable with things, then we tend to love things. And when they change, we worry a little bit. But it's good to change, and you have to sort of like keep going with the change. And that's how I operate. All right, you're a force of nature. You chose a really cool topic again as I look at this: rekindle your power, strength, and passion. And as I looked into Eastern mythologies and philosophies connected with the dragon, there's so many different things, and we don't have time to dig into all of those today. But what I liked about it was the 5 elements, with metal being like the 5th one. And you can kind of create a pentagram with it, or a pentacle. So with that, we have fire, earth, air, water, and metal. So that's also kind of like bringing some action, bringing some tools to the trade here. So today we're going to look at discernment. We're going to look at which elements pop out of the 7-day spread. And then as we dig into the special topic, we'll go a little deeper and see, are there blocks? Are there opportunities? Where is it going to go? All right. So we are now going to move into the 7-day forecast, which is going to take us through, of course, the next week, starting with today and leading us to next weekend. All right, let's get started, folks. Good to see all of you. We're going to be working with a couple nature decks today. I don't have them all set up here because I set my alarms, but my body didn't want to wake up. So I'm on the old time where I would still have an extra hour. So I didn't get all my decks set up. So we'll be choosing some of these in real time. But this one I had ready because I used it yesterday. So 5 of arrows for today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, lots of reversals. Thursday, let's give it a shuffle again. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to read them all as upright so that we don't go crazy. And I'm just going to look at where you might be blocked on these. Sometimes that happens. This is a well shuffled deck, but it is what it is, and I like to kind of look at this. So the main thing as we look at this is, what is the resistance? So I'm going to read the positive, and I'm going to look at what might be keeping you from getting to that. All right. So only if I ever get all reversals am I going to kind of do this. But there's some interesting energy as you're kind of moving towards this week ahead, and I'm here to help you. All right. So let's begin with the energy of Monday. I'm just going to pull up my weekly markers because I know with Sunday rather. So for today, as we look at the energy of today, it's about work and not getting sort of caught up in the work or lost in the work. So a lot of times with the 5 of arrows here, actually this is a 5 of swords here, that this is different. So arrows in this deck are swords and wands are wands are bows. So with the 5 of swords, don't get caught up in conversations that aren't worth your time. We were talking about feedback and unnecessary feedback, or just kind of like opinions. So when you're talking to someone and there's 5 of swords energy, they're not listening. They're thinking 2 steps ahead of you. They may not be ready or even able to take accountability. And it ends up being an exasperating conversation. So we see this goat kind of like trying to dodge the bullets, basically. So today would be a good day to dodge the bullets when it comes to someone taking shots at you. I kind of like this. I never really thought of it that way. And that's what the person's doing. They're taking, shots with the bow and arrow. So sometimes people just take a low blow or a low shot at you, or when you talk to them, they're not hearing you. This happened to me a long time ago in a professional sort of situation where it was partly due to communication issues where this English was a second language, and there's shades of meaning that a native speaker can pick up on, so I'm always very careful now when I communicate. But there was that, and then also the person just didn't listen. They were opinionated and they were in their head. I could see the wheels moving. So if you're with someone who either has a difficult time understanding you for any number of reasons or just doesn't want to listen, today is not the day to put your energy there. Be like the goat, dodge the bullets, take the high road, focus on something that's better use of your time and energy, okay? And that's that. Sometimes the 5 of swords, I like to compare it to the devil and the angel that we'll see in illustrations sitting on your shoulder. So we can be our own 5 of swords, not listening to our higher judgment, talking ourselves into situations that we know better than doing. So listen to the higher voice, kick that little devil off your shoulder, and focus on what's important. And so that's the energy today. Not getting caught up in things that aren't worth the time, not worth the energy. Monday's looking fantastic. We have the sun coming through. We have this beautiful energy around the heart. And also I associate this with the solar plexus, of course. And so one of the things that I'd like to mention with this is it's a great day to start new projects. It's a great day to just sort of let go. So part of mourning, part of moving on, part of releasing is just sort of like surrender. And there's a beautiful surrendering energy into this. Just sort of like, I am what I am. There's this old Edie Brickell song, what I am is what I am and you're what you are or what. So just kind of like let it be who you are. And really just sort of like when you surrender to the call, when you surrender to yourself, then some great things can start to happen. And sometimes it's just sort of like, this is really what I stand for, right? And so in this moment, just be who you want to be, and then let the sort of pieces fall where they will, especially when it comes to relationships, people, and opinions around you. But this is good for reclaiming power, for starting something new, and for surrendering and just saying, I'm going to do this. Let's do this, right? And that's a great old song, by the way. If you don't know it, I love that growing up. So check her out, Edie Brickell, What I Am is What I Am, or I Am What I Am, whatever. You'll see it. It's her most popular song. She had a few hits, but that was one of the best. All right, so starting off with a really good energy on Monday. Tuesday, we have the sort of tentative and adventurous Page of Pentacles here. So let's take a look at this for Tuesday. So we have a lynx on this particular card, fast, smart, agile, but there's also this sort of, is it time? Can I do this energy with this? Pages are very interesting because I see them as channels and conduits. So the relay race energy is coming through with this a little bit. And there could be someone that offers or invites or engages with you in some sort of new activity saying, hey, are you interested? because a Page of Pentacles coming to you can be an offer, invitation, or opportunity, just like the Ace, but there's more. This could be in a contract, this could be a verbal invitation, and you have to decide, does it sit well with me? It's also a great day for you to send out invitations, letters, especially when we're looking at things around money, resources, or anything where you need some feedback. You could solicit feedback as well, saying, hey, could you edit this? Could you take a look at this? I need a second set of eyes or ears on this. And it's going to be a great day to get things done. Pages are good. They're basically not just secretarial, but they're very connected. They're very empowered, and they're great at sometimes pulling the right pieces together. So I see the wheels moving. I see them moving in a good direction. I see it being a very productive day. And at the end of the day, you're happy that you put energy and efforts into whatever you decided to put energies into. Let's take a look at midweek and see what's coming through. So as we go to Wednesday, we have the King of Pentacles. So not only are we starting to make some progress, but it actually sits in a really good place towards the middle of the week. So let's pull this card up and get an understanding of what's going on with this. King of Pentacles, we have Wolf energy, call and answer. I did a really cool connection and symbiotic relationship when I was looking at, I think it was Leo the other day, but wolves and ravens work together. Maybe even crows, but I think it was ravens on this particular instance. And I was doing some research where basically baby wolves and ravens, they end up playing games together. So the ravens will kind of like dive bomb them and sometimes throw a stick and kind of play and create this sort of symbiotic relationship. And then later they hunt together. And basically where you see ravens and crows, typically there's a carcass. Sometimes they can't access all of the protein inside, so they'll invite the wolves over there and then they feed on the scraps afterwards. And the two of them kind of look out after each other and hunt together. And I thought that was a cool relationship. So there may be a chance for a higher partnership. In this case, you're the wolf and you're listening for incoming messages, and there may be a sort of playful exchange between you and someone else. I like to remind folks that play is an important part to work. So if you're going to have to work with somebody, why not make it fun? And it's a little bit of you scratch my back, I scratch your back. So finding mutual places where you both can benefit. Sometimes you bend a little bit like a willow, and sometimes they bend a little bit. If you can do that, then you can end this day with this beautiful King of Pentacles energy. So Wednesday's a day of collaboration, cooperation, call and answer. And you may need to kind of like, you may have to pick up the phone and talk to somebody, but there's a good chance that they're going to respond. So a good day for all of that. Okay. There is an independent streak with this wolf. So I would say the important thing is to come out of the hermit shell at some point. Whenever you're doing something really important, you do want to make sure that you're not missing something. So soliciting the opinions and the advice, probably a little bit easier as we begin the week. So Tuesday's a day where you can benefit from this, but there's at least one more circle back where you might want to talk a little bit about some of that. Okay. But great day for personal development, great day to talk about money, good day for meetings, good day for looking at your budget. For those of you in the US, this is a good day to do your taxes. Get stuff connected with your money, time, energy, and resources. It's a power day for you. As we look at Thursday, you're now working a little bit more independently, and whatever you're doing, it feels good. I'm really happy with all the Pentacles cards that we got here throughout the week. So again, we're looking at Thursday here. 9 of Pentacles is basically independence, sustainability, and there's a new card or a new kind of message on this one, which is tradition. So you might be doing something that has just been tried and true and traditionally works for you. You might also be working in a system that has a sort of a methodology, and it's kind of about taking some of that and then maybe adding a little bit of your own to that as well. We have the Ouroboros there, and we have the snake. Power basically is what we're seeing here, a powerful period for you. And 9 of Pentacles in a traditional card is going to show someone in a garden surrounded by abundance, and they're kind of in their own world. So one thing that I would encourage you to do when it comes to ideation and brainstorming, this is the day. I think you'll have the peace or the peace of mind to be able to develop, to be able to dream, to be able to take it to the next level. Pacing is all that's missing from this, but we see meditation. Normally there would be a snail on the 9 of Pentacles, but what we see instead in this are the rocks and the meditation. And all of these things represent time and stability this isn't a day to do something brash or crazy. You want to really kind of take a breath, be strategic. It's all about strategy as we're looking at the energy of Thursday. Okay, let's go ahead now and see what Friday brings. Well, we like this. We have the Knight of Cups, or the Knight of Eels on this. So Friday, Knight of Eels, Knight of Vessels rather. The eel represents, again, power. So these are 2 days where there are sort of flexibility, power, insight, and cups. Where's your heart taking you? What are you passionate about? What are you excited about? Who in your life can you talk to that's going to be in that same sort of vibe? And the main thing here is to keep an open heart, because the eel is the epitome of flexibility. I would say being flexible with the heart is going to be important. Being understanding towards others. Also kind of the heart finds a way. So if you believe enough in something to really invest time and energy, other people will, and they believe in you, the heart finds a way. So if you're passionate about it, I believe that you have the capacity to breathe life into something, projects and ideas. If you believe in someone enough and they believe in you, the relationship has the potential to go the long sort of stretch, that long relay race, but you both have to be flexible. Give and take is the key. And I think you're going to have a happy day. Fridays are really good. With the Knight of Cups here, this Friday is going to be really good for having fun, meeting up with people. This is whether it's strategic, playful, or just to hang out. I really like the relationship energy with the Knight of Cups. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at next weekend and see what it's all about. I really like next Saturday. We have the Wheel, or the Wheel of Fortune. I love the tapestry that's kind of created with this one, or the kind of weaving or loom energy here. So it's basically saying it's all worth it. You don't always see the pattern or understand like how much progress you've made until you're done. So one thing that you can do on Saturday is take a break, take a look at the progress. You can't change the past, but you can definitely learn from it, and you can appreciate how far you've come. And I think this is a great day to do that. The Wheel of Fortune also represents a chance to change your mind, change direction, and also kind of like really invest in something. So there's so much energy this week. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that are either pentacles or related to money or resources. So more than half of this week is basically about you focusing on potential and resources. I feel like you're headed in the right direction. I feel like you can get a lot. Actually, I take it back. There's one more because we have the Two of Pentacles here. So most of this week is about getting your grounding and figuring out what you want to spend your time and energy on. Let's actually look at this, and then we'll pick the power days, and we'll focus on the next thing. So moving to next Sunday, there could be someone that is vying for your attention. I typically don't read Two of Pentacles as a money card. I look at it as work-life balance. And in this case, someone wants more of your time, and we see them kind of coming in and saying, hey, don't forget about me. Also a good song from the 80s, Don't You Forget About Me. And so this could be family, friends, or it could be an obligation that you forgot about. And you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I said I was going to do this. I better do this. So you might be asked to juggle and make a tough choice. Typically with the Two of Pentacles, you can't do everything. You have to say yes to one and either no or not yet to another, and really define your goals for that day. The saying no or not yet is the tough part, but it's the right thing to do. It allows the other person to have realistic expectations. It sets you up for success. It frees your energy. And that's the only thing that could be holding you back, is overcommitting. Let's look at the power days and the struggle days. There's really not that many struggle days. If I were to pick one where it's a little challenging, well, thankfully we're together. It's today. So you could be trying to bite your tongue or dodge a bullet or avoid kind of like convincing yourself to do something you know you shouldn't. So today, be logical and don't waste time with things that aren't worth your energy, especially people or conversations that just tend to bring you down. It's a good week across the board. I talked about resistance. When we look at the resistance here, some of you might just be thinking, when's the other shoe going to drop? And the message here is it doesn't have to. We don't have to be on the outlook for bad things. We can be on the outlook for good things. I think that's the big thing here, is believing in the possibility for change. Sometimes when I read chat or read comments, people will be focusing so much on things that don't work. Like I don't have, no one's in my life. I don't have any luck with this. Nothing's happening. I'm like, well, we have to shift it. Let's look at the tools for building up. And that's really what we have this week. Monday, good time to start something new. Tuesday, good time to get feedback. Wednesday, teamwork, looking at money, looking at resources, starting to work on your own a little bit, culminating here on Thursday, really a day of independence. If you need help, you can still ask for help. Sometimes you forget with this card. Friday, having fun, expressing yourself, channeling your creativity. Saturday, we're focusing on direction, progress, and then also, again, tapping into the resources one more time, which is going to help you out next Sunday because you might be asked to make a call of what do you want to do, where do you stand, what should you focus on, and someone may remind you of a promise that you need to keep. Okay? So overall, a pretty darn good week ahead. We're going to move on now to the elements, and the elements are going to help us take a look at basically what's coming through sign specific. This is the only part where I'm going to do that sign specific energy, and the rest of this is going to be for everybody. So this is just a great way to make sure that we know what's coming through for all the various zodiac signs. Let's go ahead and change up the decks here. I'm going to take a look here and see which one's calling to me. I think I want to do another nature-based one if I can get to it. I think it's too far down, so we're going to choose a different one here. All right. Here we go, looking at the elements for the week ahead. My mic is not covered. If I turn, it's directional. Hopefully you can hear me. So if I do this, you're not going to hear me. If I do this, you can hear me. That way it doesn't pick up on other things. All right, focus. So we are doing the elements, fire, earth, air, and water. Let's give it a shuffle. Let's see what's going on. Fire, earth, air, water. All right, let's take a look at this. We'll begin with fire signs. This is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And now you have me looking and making sure that my mic is okay. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the text below. All right, so we'll start off with the Wheel of Fortune, which is connected to the energy of Saturday. So this is super exciting. So for my Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius signs out there, the whole week is looking good, but your power day is actually going to be on Saturday, then the upcoming Saturday. We see a change of direction. We see a change of focus. And just to kind of help you see this card and how cool it is, if you look at this, we see that there's a season and a reason for everything. And so sometimes you're on the high point, sometimes you're on a lower point, but especially with us having a change of season coming up, things are moving, things are changing. So you could either, let's just imagine that no matter which direction you're in right now, we're heading you towards growth. You have permission to try something new, which I said at the beginning. I don't have to ask for it, but some people were saying, don't change. I'm allowed to change. You're allowed to change. Anyone who denies you the ability to change is stagnating, is not embracing opportunity. So if there's a change in career, a change in direction, a change in relationship status, whatever it is that you want to look at, this week is about embracing the change, and it's also about seeing what's my return on the energetic investment. Is it tugging me down or is it lifting me up? Either way, you're going to thrive and you're going to turn things around. So this is a week to focus on turning things around and really feeling emboldened and inspired by whatever it is that you're engaging with, okay? And let me see if there's anything else. Talking about work and money is important this week, and thinking about work and money. The Wheel of Fortune definitely is connected to that. It's seasonal, but it's also very practical when it comes to that. So do a little bit of soul searching. Are you on the path that you like when it comes to either if you're retired, how are you spending your time and energy? If you're studying, a student, do you really picture yourself doing this? And if you're mid-career, is this the right path? You can always tweak, you can always adjust, you can always raise your hand and say, I want to make a change. If you like what you're doing, keep doing more of it. And this is just validation. All right, moving on to my earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Expansion, opportunities, moving in the highest levels. So we have the ultimate card here in the major arcana, and this is basically, for many of you, it can indicate different things. It can be moving into something bigger. It can be sharing or broadcasting something. So those of you that are looking for like a publication deal for a book, for instance, or want to figure out when can I launch something, this is a good week. And we saw that Monday would be a good day because that was associated with birthing. This is also a card of changes of all the things we just talked about. The Wheel of Fortune and the world are very similar, but the world is just like amplified. So travel, moving, broadcasting, exchanging, sharing, learning, all of those things. It's just a good, and of course, finishing something. So this is when things should wrap up. If you've been looking for a time to finish or start, because it's a bookend of the major arcana, we then go back to the Fool. In some decks, the Fool is 22, but in most it's 0. And so we just basically go between the two. And so you're wrapping something up. And my advice for those of you that are wrapping something up is start to plan for the next phase, either this next level or the next big thing. And then in the future, always have that next big thing so that you're never kind of facing the panic of what's next. So it's a good card. Sometimes we freak ourselves out when we get close to graduation, release, or letting go. If you've been dealing with something difficult, this also represents the culmination of the sort of like grieving period that's a part of this. So if that's been going on, then things are starting to turn a corner. And again, very close to the equinox. I think that's when a lot of magic starts to happen. So we're on the heels of that. And this week is about resetting, understanding, visualizing what's next, and hopefully I can help you do all of the aforementioned. All right, from Earth to Air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, what's going on with you? Growth, repair, reclamation, balance. The Seven of Pentacles is basically a period of time after you've gone through something difficult where you start to see the scales turning in your favor. So the Seven of Pentacles is growth, but we want to make sure that we are slow, that we are discerning, just like we learned with the 7, that we are learning things like we are about to do with the 8. And this is about not overextending. So when it comes to social calendars, say no occasionally, get a good night's rest occasionally. When it comes to expenditures, do you really need something with all the bells and whistles? Do you need it all right now? Can you phase things out over time? When it comes to overall sort of just how you're spending your time, energy, and budget, I think it's really about making sure that it's the long distance race. You don't need to sprint all the time. You sprint for your portion, you save a little bit extra. There's going to be more sort of races and relays down the line. Back when I was doing that for a little bit in like middle school and high school, I remember that if you had to run multiple races that day, you also had to not just give it all for one, you had to save a little bit. And so it's really about figuring out how much energy does my body and my mind have for any given task. And at a certain point, I have to pull back. I have to let go and give the baton to the next person, okay? So balance is really, really key. But I do see things looking better when it comes to money. You just have to avoid the temptation of overspending or overextending. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We have the Hermit card. She's reversed, but let's look at her upright. So in the upright position, she's getting ready to come out. In the reverse, she's sort of still thinking like, am I ready? Do I stand for this? Where am I at? So I see a little bit of soul searching going on and a little bit of doubt over directionality of what's next. So I think the key thing here to remember is there does come a point where you've done enough research. It is okay. And there are no guarantees in life in general. We can really make informed decision. We can make a calculated risk. And at some point, you just have to take a leap of faith. So it feels like many of you are wrapping up the research phase and getting ready to kind of come out and just go for it. So do the homework, do the work, and eventually take the leap of faith. This is a good time for training, for learning, for researching, for asking tough questions. This is a knowledge seeker, obviously. And then you can lean on yourself. I'm looking at this sort of birch tree. It looks like a birch tree branch, yeah. And basically, you are your own best support. And this is something that you learn in the hermit phase because it represents independence and sometimes isolation. The days that really benefited the hermit were Wednesday and Thursday because we had like the lone wolf, and then we had the Nine of Pentacles, which was independent. So I see your power days being those two. Looking at the air signs, I think your challenge day, by the way, is going to be Sunday, because every sign kind of had a connection to the cards this week. So overall, the energy is looking pretty good here. If I could see a common trend here, we have a couple again around resources, and then we have two on the polar opposites here, expansion and contraction. And so this week is really kind of deciding how to find your balance, how to find your direction, and are you expanding or are you contracting? Hint, you're all expanding. There's a sort of desire to want to go within, but the energy this week is really about healing, movement, and needing to expand, okay? So those are the sort of high points and high messages there. All right, we're gonna move into the special topic next. And again, just for those of you that joined at this moment, it's going to be the dragon, a symbol of power and of fire, and it's about rekindling your power, strength, and passion in your life. All right, so let me get everything set up. Let me decide which deck I want to use as well. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully your day has gotten off to a great start. By the way, great reminder at this point, if you haven't already done so, to throw a like and subscribe. We're super close to a milestone, and once we hit that milestone, I will, sorry, I'll talk on camera so that I don't get people commenting. Once we hit that milestone, we'll do a special Q&A. I'm going to be quiet and select the deck, and then we'll get into the reading. I may just use the Celtic one again. All right, because it's springish, I'm going to use this one again. It's a new one, and I'll shake it up in the weeks that come, but for today, it's the one that's calling to me, and it's the closest to me. All right, let's get going, folks. I'll leave this in front so you can hear me as well. Special topic, traditional Celtic Cross again, because some people complained, and, and I like to change it up every week, so we'll see. Let's see how this feels for me. What I am going to change is I'm not going to do the traditional health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to look at power, strength, and passion as the extra cards. So I am changing it up a little bit. Yeah, for the folks that are brand new, we change every week. The special topic and even the way that I read the special topic changes every week. And sooner or later, you guys will get used to the change. I like to remind folks that the whole way that the special topic and the Sunday collectives kind of came about was because I just decided I wanted to try it. So if we don't experiment, nothing new starts. It gets boring. It's good to experiment. All right, and then I'm gonna pull, like I said, let me just keep my window open here. So this will be power, strength, and passion. So we'll do it up, power. Actually, I'll do it to the side. Power, strength, and passion. Yeah, I'm not even going to read this in the traditional way, so don't worry. Basically, I feel like we need to change things up. I've been doing this for 8 years, so I can play around a little bit, and then I can return to this, and then I can change it again. I can do 3 cards, I can do 5 cards, I can do 10 cards. Let's just be flexible. For the folks that are having a hard time with that, then that's resistance to growth. But I do listen to feedback, and I am trying this, okay? Let's focus now on the messages, though. So we're going to look at the catalyst first. This is really helping you rekindle or spark the fire or passion within you. So we have the horse. The horse was reversed. And so for many of you, this is kind of like, if it's reversed, it reminds me more of the devil, because we want to kind of pull the energy in. When it's upright, it's like the chariot. So we want to go from the devil to the chariot. So I'm going to read it as how to get to the chariot. Your heart is pure and free. A greater purpose calls you. So we'll take this This person wrote too much on this deck. I love it, but too many words. We'll take it piece by piece. So freedom. You have the freedom to decide. You have the freedom to explore. Your heart is not going to lead you in the wrong direction. Now, the next piece here is basically, I'll take some issue with it. It says you have unlimited resources of stamina and strength. When in reality, what I would say is when you're doing what you want, it feels like that. It feels like work isn't work anymore. So that's what I'm going to kind of say with this. When you're truly in the flow energetically of whatever it is you want to do, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like it's a hard time. And then you can follow the winds of change and accomplish your dreams. So work doesn't feel like work when it's passion. When you're doing what you want, then limits disappear, traditional limits, and you can go further, farther, faster than you or others imagined. So be the stallion, be the chariot. Don't go counter, don't go within. And I think that's important. Okay? All right. So we're just going to look. We're going to travel through the cards. And if we have time to look at some other things, we will. I'm not going to spend as much time on every card. And I may not identify every card as well, because every day I do that with the one card pulls. All right. So essentially at the center, we have overdue change. Death is change. And we need to kind of like fly on the wings of change. With the card in reverse, some of you are second guessing a change, for some of you might also have a second chance to do something. So this is about embracing change and opportunity when it comes knocking. And crossing this, we actually have an Ace of Pentacles. There is opportunity knocking. So one thing that I'm going to say is this feels like there is not necessarily a time limit on it, but it feels like the sooner you move towards change, the sooner that new day starts to break, and you can do something really exciting with that, okay? Ace of Pentacles. You're already sitting on an idea. You're already sitting on something big. And for some of you, the overthinking could be getting in the way. For some of you, the fear of the unknown, like I said this morning, it was a foggy day. It was decent. I could see all the way to the end of the street, but I couldn't see the mountains, couldn't see the sky. I couldn't see beyond my street block. So sometimes not being able to see makes you feel uncertain of what's available. But I have the faith and then the experience, because I've lived on this planet long enough, that the sun will break through eventually. The rain stops, the fog lifts, you can see what's beyond. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not possible, doesn't mean that it won't happen, and doesn't mean that you're not worthy of it. So believe in potential, focus on potential, and start to do something. We see someone here setting up, getting ready. I'm ready for the new day. I'm ready for this investment, okay? And that's what we see with that. All right. The Ace of Pentacles does require nurturing. So someone was talking about hatching. Yeah, like this can be an egg. It is an egg, or it is sometimes even a seed in different decks. Not only that, in addition to all of that, you can kind of see it as something that just requires a little bit of your time and energy, and it's always worth the investment. All right, let's move on to the deep past. So what we're really looking at here when I'm looking at these kinds of spreads and readings is karmically and historically, what's either holding you back or causing some friction. Some of you are trying to do too much. Some of you are trying to please too many people. This is a funny Seven of Wands. Look at all these little imps maybe that are kind of tugging at her energy. Usually the Seven of Wands is a little bit more empowered, so I want to show that card just to contrast it. So what I'm going to say while I find this is a couple of things. First and foremost, you don't owe anyone an explanation. When you make a change in your life and it feels right, and it is right, go for it. Eventually, people will come along, or you're going to attract the tribe and energy that is in the right sort of vibe. So there may be a little bit of attrition of people that just don't get it. And that's okay at the end of the day. Because there's a defensive stance to this card that both serves and sometimes distracts us. So as we look at the traditional card, we see someone standing up for what matters, pushing off unnecessary requests, and at the end of the day, sometimes just saying no. So it's both defending yourself when it matters, saying, this is what I stand for. and I don't owe you an explanation. And if someone wants too much, no, you should handle that. And then sometimes just thinking, we don't need to talk about this if it's something that's not worth it. So you pick and choose the battles and you hold your ground. And if there are people doing this, you don't need to stick around. You don't need to stick around that. So as karmic energy, it's basically you're strong enough to say no. Creating healthy boundaries is key. And not owing everyone an explanation is going to be really pivotal to happiness and success. Here's what's coming through as the tool right now. We talked about the dragon being very close to the magician. You have all the different elements in front of you. Well, this is the element that's coming through recently to either help or hinder you because it's in the recent past. So we have water as the first element in recent past that I want to focus on. Where does your heart feel like it's leading you? I love all of the starfish on her. This is a time for reparation, for restoration, for recovery, and it will be okay. So for some of you, there's a little bit of healing that needs to take place first. You're passionate. I said, today's reading is about reconnecting with the passion. So I definitely get the passion, but what I'm seeing here for some of you is some healing has to happen as well. Just take a drink while we're talking and then we'll discuss. The cool thing with the starfish is if anything was lost or stolen or fell apart, you have the capacity to rebuild. So never underestimate that potential or that capacity. That's what I would be focusing on right now. Not focusing so much on, this is gone. Instead, oh yes, look at what I can do and look at what is coming through. This is a Celtic deck. It's on my website. Dakota can give you a list. I see someone asking. Okay, let's focus next on the crowning cards where the power exists. Okay, we have the presenting energy now, the King of Wands, and lo and behold, there's a dragon, folks. And now we have the Four of Cups, which could be what's pulling it down. So let's take a look at these two. The King of Wands is reversed, but this is fire, and this is passion, and this is power, and this is leadership. Look at how cool this King of Wands is. This kind of reminds me, it's a tree spirit. So your power is in the roots, the connections, because fun fact, trees basically, especially certain types like quaking aspens, they are interconnected. So they create this underground network where they kind of communicate to one another. There's another thing, mushrooms work in the same way, where basically they send out this, it's almost like a neural network where they can share information and resources like food and all of that. So never underestimate the power of your network. Never underestimate your power to reach out to someone, and take extra time and care in feeling grounded in this moment. So this is, ironically, it makes sense because wood, fire, but wood requires grounding, even though it's not earth. So this kind of it comprises both elements of the earth and fire. So some of you might not have the grounding, so you're going in all directions, and you just need to put your feet on the ground. Lofty ideas represented by the dragon, but it needs to put its feet on the ground and rest for a second and gather its thoughts. So that's one thing that I'm picking up on here. This is a super bossy card, like beyond you're the boss. It's like, no, either you're getting bossed around too much or you're maybe not listening to others. So this is about keeping an open mind and an open perspective. There are times when King of Wands reverse could be good, but when it comes to the head space, I want a little bit of openness here. And that's what we're seeing here with the Four of Cups. So if you're too set on a certain way of something being, you miss the potential that's right in front of you. This is a more beautiful Four of Cups. Typically, we would see the cup floating here, the person grumpy, and they're missing it. In this one, they're actually doing what I'm asking, which is they're grounded, they're in front of that tree, they're tuning in, and they're like, oh, look at this. This is something I hadn't considered. Now I can spread my wings and fly. Now I can go in that direction. Now I'm empowered. Slow down long enough to see the opportunity, the gift, or the potential. So that's basically it. You have all that it takes to get something done. Now, there could be someone around you that lacks everything that I just said. So maybe they are the bossy boss that doesn't listen. And then maybe that means that you might have to take something somewhere else, whether it's you're trying to shop an idea or a project to a place that isn't kind of getting your creative vision, or someone just doesn't want to allow you to go to the next level. And if that's the case, it's time. You've been given a sign, it's time to move on, and you can do this. All right, don't underestimate your own power, of course. That's the other thing here. You have what it takes. Guess what? We have the Six of Wands, and we talked about this. Success, also opinions. They are a dime a dozen, right? So the card is in reverse, but let's look at it upright. And this card it reminds me of something out of Lord of the Rings. Even the background, that reminds me of as they were going into, was it Gondor or whatever? It was like the kings and they were going over the waterfall. But anyway, and this guy looks like an elf. But the Six of Wands, let's talk about the traditional message behind the Six of Wands. So sometimes leadership is lonely. Oftentimes it is. Sometimes going ahead of the curve or the bleeding edge, whenever you're doing something that hasn't been done, it's met with misunderstandings, sometimes in the disguise of opposition. It's really just people can't figure it out. What is this? So don't let go of something. You're onto something really cool, or you're about to embark on something really cool. Just because mom or dad doesn't get it, just because your partner doesn't get it, doesn't mean that this isn't exactly where you should be. You're just a little bit ahead. You're leading the charge here, okay? And it may not be popular, but it might be necessary. There's wisdom, and that's what we're picking up in the elvish sort of imagery in this. There's wisdom in this movement, okay? Opinions, pressure, all that jazz that I talked about earlier, it's a lot to digest, right? It's a lot to take in, and it could be coming at you. Remember, today's energy was the goat that was dodging all the bullets, or the arrows, as it were. So you may just need to dodge a few bullets and just think there are some things where it's not worth it. You know, doing social media, sometimes they're just people that say things, and you just let it go. It's not worth the time. They have a right to express themselves. I have a right to go my path. And you just, at a certain point, you're like, it's not worth it. So there are people in everyday life that do that too. And sometimes it's at work. Sometimes it's in your family. Sometimes it's at a dinner table during the holidays. And you just think, I could win this argument if I want to, but am I going to be losing something in the process? So sometimes it's just not worth it. Pick and choose. Keep on the path ahead. Don't get distracted. Those are the messages with that. All right. Let's take a look at why are you where you're at right now. Okay, so this is a representation of you. This is your potential. This is you. So let's see, are you ready for, again, I'm going to remind myself of the three things: power, strength, and passion. We're going to look at them separately in a second, but I just want to focus on the messages first. So are you ready for the expansion, basically, here? Yes, you are. We have the Three of Wands. The card is reversed. I talked about my experience this morning walking Little Apollo. It looked a lot like this. It was a gray, dismal morning where I couldn't see past the end of the street. It is beautiful. You can see the emerald green behind me. It's still a little gloomy, but I could see promises of the sun. I know that the future can be like what we see there. There's something worth it. There's something exciting, but it's not yet revealing itself. So the Three of Wands, what does it represent? That what you seek is here. There's eminent energy to it. So if there aren't a lot of cards that show me a when, but this shows me a when, and the when equals now. And the challenge with the Three of Wands reversed is direction could be off. You could be looking over here and it's over here. You could be looking here and it's here. So take a moment and survey your surroundings. Do what we saw in your crowning card. Tune in. Could be here as well, and it could be here. So the solution is at hand. Could be passion, could be intellect, could be resources. May not be right in front of you. Could also be the network, one person away, okay? But wherever it is, it's close. And that's a good thing. Let's take a look at this card since this is a fairly new deck. So I love all the rings of the tree there that are kind of showing wisdom over time. Time is so each ring of the tree is a year of its life. So which card was I talking about with this recently? It might have been yesterday's. But I was basically saying everything's led you up to this point. And the key thing here, I mean, even just talking about today, you can't change the past. You can learn from it. You can read the past very clearly. That worked, that didn't. I could try this in the future. And this is kind of giving you permission to experiment based on your experiences from the past. But what I see here is a path in front of you, around you. I see opportunities springing up. And again, speaking of spring, sometimes we see things, but when you have this, if you have like an English garden or something, you know that sometimes things are hidden, and then all of a sudden one day a bulb just shoots up overnight, it feels like. So I feel like that's what's happening to you this month. There are opportunities where all of a sudden you look and it's ready to blossom. So keep an open eye and ear to what's around you. It's closer than you think. Go the distance. It's a travel card. Believe it or not, we don't always read the Three of Wands as that. There are ships on it, and the ships are a little far away. And I always talk about bridging the gap a little bit, moving closer, in this case, to this little mystical fawn or whatever in the distance. So move closer to what it is that you seek. All right, we have the Strength card here in the environment. This is representing not only who's around you, but also how you're showing up to those people. So the Strength card can overcome any obstacle, including people that make a lot of noise. The Strength card can have any number of animals on it. Sometimes it's a crocodile, sometimes it's a lion, sometimes it's a bear. But basically it's a beast that has power. And in this case, we see a beast that's been tamed. Usually the person has the capacity to overcome the current obstacle. I always like to add an extra piece, which is you got through this. Really look at how much it took to get there and never underestimate yourself again. But also look at who you're with and think, do I need to keep doing this? Has that person truly changed? Are we truly in a collaborative and cooperative energy? Or am I occasionally going to have to go that extra mile to try to convince them, to try to control them, to try to tame them? We don't want that. No one wants to be tamed or to be the tamer. Basically, this is your opportunity to really evaluate the investment of energy. It should be a partnership. Most modern decks show that there's no struggle. Sometimes we see a lioness where she's half lion and half woman, or we will see just this sort of collaborative or resting energy. The thing that I don't like on this one, where I feel like there's still maybe a little bit of a struggle, is there's a chain between her and the bear. So I feel like there's still an opportunity to let that go. Whatever will be, will be. You have the power to overcome an obstacle. You have the power to convince someone. You have the power to win something. But it does have a cost energetically. So over time, make sure that you're not exerting yourself on that. And it's in your environment. So it doesn't feel like it's pivotal to you. It's not your trajectory. It's not where you're headed. There might just be something where you're spending too much time trying to make someone do something. It's not worth it. Okay. The bear is also representing the awakening that's around the corner. I know that it's interesting because spring and fall, I'm reading for the whole globe, not just for Northern Hemisphere. So I always like to ground myself in that. The cool thing with this is it's a pretty even energy. So equinox is equal. Whenever we're looking at solstice energy, it's a lot more punctuated. So we're at a point right now where the whole planet is going to be pretty even soon. But moving past that, some of you are kind of going more towards winding something down, and some of you are going more towards awakening it. So whichever end you're on, you're exactly where you need to be. And if you're winding something down, think of the next thing. If you're starting something new, pace yourself. That's all I have to say on that. All right, opportunities. Really pleased with what showed up here. We have the Page of Swords. So now we're moving into, this element is really about listening, speaking, communicating. And this is where your potential to allow something to take flight exists. Page of Swords. I think one thing that you could practice over the next week is, what is it you want to say and how do you want to say it? So when it comes to written communication, this could just simply be an invitation to make some drafts, to write a few drafts and make sure that you're comfortable with how it sounds and that you memorize it. This could also be a chance for you to basically allow for other people to step in and give some feedback on things. But the page is pretty open, and it's an expert card for communicating, for holding meetings, and also for being able to take what someone else said and possibly, like in a previous life, in this lifetime, I'm just being sort of like playful. Like when I was studying my undergraduate, it was journalism with an emphasis in public relations with a minor in English, like communication. The thing with public relations and what it taught me and what it helps me with here is, how can I restate this? How can I make this understandable towards a larger audience? How it helped me in everyday life was there's a better way to say it. There's a wait a second. How can this best be understood? So if you can put on that kind of hat this week and think, what can I do that's going to reach the broadest amount of people that will still convey the message, or how can I specialize it for different groups? Now there's a fancy term, segmentation. So you would take different market segments and you would take the same message and restate it. The other thing that I learned to do, and my goodness, is it helping me with the 1 minute readings, is I had to learn how to write public service announcements, PSAs. So you'd have to do 60 second, 30 second, 15 second, and 5 second PSAs. So you had to really boil it down to the essentials. A 5 second PSA or announcement would be something like, Weekend Collective, 9 a.m. Pacific time, tune in. That's it. You can only just state what, when, where, or why. So get to the basics. I think getting something down to a 5, 10, or 15 second soundbite could be really effective for you. Go to the essentials, maybe get a minute, but that's your sort of elevator pitch. We only really have a minute sometimes to get things across to someone. If you can't get it in that amount of time, it may not be worth it or ready yet, so you have to work on it a little bit, okay? This is the ultimate make it or break it, and it appeared in the ultimate state here, the outcome. And there's a lot that we can talk about. So we're going to look at it again. Power, strength, and passion. Okay. I'll kind of try to break it down for all three. So when it comes to power and strength, they kind of go hand in hand. This is disbelief. I can't, I won't, I'll never. And those don't help you. Justice is a card of empowerment and balance and choice. So instead, choose to believe. I will, I am, I can, I will, I am. That's usually the way that I like to put it. So I know I can do it. I choose, I will do it. And then I am. I'm going to breathe life into this. And that's really, now when you say this, it's an oath to yourself. It's a contract. That's also what justice represents. Don't make a promise you can't keep. Don't underestimate your ability. Never think that something is impossible if your heart tells you that it is, because you're putting that energy out into the universe. Instead, choose to be open to, you can tell the universe, I'm ready to see how to make this happen. I'm going to do this. Basically, speak in the affirmative. I had a dream about a month ago where I saw it was either justice or judgment. I think it was judgment, but justice would work even better because it's a contract. But the guides were saying you have to swear before justice or judgment that this is what you're going to do. And that's a very important oath. So for yourselves, really be keen on things that you promise to do. Even the little promises matter. When you say you're going to call someone or do some sort of an errand or whatever, they all are an aggregate of how dependable are you, how invested are you, and you really want to show up as invested and ready. Okay? Now, something cool with this. With justice reversed, you are absolutely empowered, enabled, and just if you need to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. I choose to walk a different path. This no longer serves me, or this is unjust. If you are in the face of injustice and something doesn't feel right, you can say, no more, no longer. Justice reversed is very clear. Just like I saw, this is now. 3 of Wands is now. Justice reversed is no. So there might be for some of you saying, no, not this, this. And that's the most powerful thing that you could choose in this moment. This isn't worth it. This is. I can do this. I'm not going to do this anymore. There's a difference between I can't and I'm not going to. So I choose not to do that because it doesn't serve me. I have some reservations and some doubts, but I choose to do this and I'm going to find a way to make this happen. I'm going to work past my doubts. I think that's the biggest growth opportunity for many of you in this moment in time. Now we're going to expand it in an unusual way because I want to try some new things, even if I'm using the Celtic Cross. So today, instead of the expanded Health, Wealth, Love, and Destiny, you can look at all my monthly or daily card pulls for that. Today, we're going to look at specifically, and I may pull some extra cards on these as we do it, we're specifically looking at the Trifecta today. We're going to start with power. So the first card in the Trifecta for power was living with purpose brings me prosperity. Okay, so how will this bring you power? Well, purpose is like basically what gets you excited to get up every morning. It's vitality, right? So your purpose is your power, and your purpose brings that money, that opportunity. It opens doors with all of that. So if you feel exhausted, if you wake up and you think, I don't have the energy, are you doing something aligned with your purpose? Because if you aren't, that's why you're feeling the lethargic sort of energy. If someone in your life won't give you the ability to do what you want to do, this may not be aligned with your higher purpose. That's one of the reasons I left my last job, is I wasn't allowed to do things that I was supposed to be doing. I was given menial tasks, and I thought, this isn't it. And it's not necessarily my fault or that person's fault. This is just how it's organized here. So this isn't what I want. And I'm being pushed out by the universe because I'm not allowed or enabled to do what my purpose is. This isn't my purpose. This is just a job. So when you can align purpose, passion, and power, then it looks like this. It's all the stars aligning, okay? So let's pull an advice card. Let's use a different deck too. Okay, what's calling to me? It's really what's going to be closest to me. All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, we'll use this one. Okay. So what can you do to, again, open up a little bit more to power? So we saw the challenge. So we're going to put this card over here. Let's get and I just lost a card. All right. So we'll put that back where it was. All right. So how can you align more to this? 7 of Pentacles. Okay, let's take a look at this. So the 7 of Pentacles, I talked a little bit about this, I believe, with the air signs. This is about not overextending. So one of the ways you can reclaim some of your power right now is simply by not doing things that aren't worth the time and the energy. So saying no, basically spanning things out over time, not realizing that it has to be all here, all now, all in, all the time. So basically having some limits is going to be key. And the other thing here is not repeating a cycle that didn't work. If it got you into trouble before, it probably will again. All right, let's move on to the second of the trifecta, which is strength. And this is really your body, your power. And oh my goodness, you can't make these things up. We have balance here. And remember, this is basically balance. The card was reversed. So saying no is going to be a key to some of this for your success here. So thank you, angels, for bringing my life into balance. So what is out of balance right now? Is it how much you work? Is it how much you spend? Is it maybe not having a lot of time for the people that you love? Is it not making enough time for yourself? Because this is about your body, your strength, your power. Let's pull a card and see how you can get more in balance. Nine of Pentacles. Really interesting. We got a lot of synchronicities because this came through for the week. Was it Thursday, I believe, right? Because we had the King of Pentacles and I think the Nine of Pentacles. I was talking about independence. So here's the way, like everything needs to sort of build you up. We see culmination at the bottom of this. So everything needs to be sort of like a building block that brings you to the next level. Again, traditionally, we would see this feeling that's slow and steady. This is, I think, actually the big piece of advice here is this part isn't a sprint. This part is about seeing that I have short-term and long-term goals, and I'm respecting and embracing and celebrating the culmination of the two. Some things take time. Some things I can have a quick win. So maybe realizing that the long-term thing is really what gets you excited about getting up. And I was listening to I don't know, like a soundbite of a singer that had achieved a certain amount of success. And they were asking like, well, what's beyond the number one? Because they always wanted something to work towards. We always need something. Even when you reach your number one status of whatever that is, there's always something else. There's always something different. And so I think it's always good to keep reaching and have the stretch goal and then do some little things that are quick wins for you. And if you can balance yourself between that, that's going to be key. Let me look at one more specifically for mind, body, and habits. You got 2. The cards have spoken. All right, so we have 2 here. 1 is strength itself. And so this is coming through and it's saying don't neglect the body and physical activity. So for those of you that have sedentary jobs, this is really about making sure that you're preparing and exercising and doing what you need to do. And now we have the 7 of Wands here. So the 7 of Wands here is also what we talked about earlier. Look at how calm she is. I love that. There basically is this feeling like, I know who I am. I know why I'm doing this. And I'm at peace with that. My peace is your peace as well. So if you can simply be at peace with your decision, with your path, others will as well. And when delivering messages or information or whatever it is that you're going to do next, if there's no anxiety, then they tend to, like, other people will just be equally at peace. So for you, I think if it's the way that you share the message, I've talked about this before, if you begin it with this feeling of gratitude, I'm so glad that you're in my life. I respect your opinion. I also really always want to keep you in the loop. And because I care about you, this is what I'm going to say, or I'm really excited to share this good news with you. You've already pushed forward that they don't have to worry. And if you can embody that feeling like this is good news too, in posture and in tone, then you have a really good chance of people getting on board and saying, how can I help? This sounds good. You sound really excited or fired up. What can I do to help you out? Versus, are you sure you want to do this? That's the magic. So the most important card is this one, is just basically your posturing and your tone. And the way that you can get there is by taking care of your body. So getting enough sleep, eating well, and making sure that you feel balanced as well, because then you're going to have the poise necessary to say what you need to. All right, now for the final piece of this 3-card or 3-part message, the passion. So for the passion, this is going back to not overthinking it. What a beautiful card for passion. We have innocence. And this is basically the childlike birthing energy that wanted to come out with Monday. So if you can just look at something not as it has to be perfect, not as only some people can do this and others can't. Kids don't have all the filters that adults do. They don't have the prejudices or the biases that adults do until they're taught that. Because when you look at kids playing in a playground, it doesn't happen until later that all of these sort of like the caste system sets in with them. You don't have to worry how something is going to happen, or if you're capable, or if it's right for you, or whatever. Just go for it. This is like the Fool card. If I had to pull a card that was close to it, because the Fool has innocence, the Sun has innocence, and the 6 of Cups do. They're children cards. So we want to pull at the playful energy of tarot. The Fool, just go for it. The 6 of Cups, surround yourself with other people that are open-minded and will go for it as well. What did I say? The other one was, the Sun. Be bold, believe in yourself, and pull people into your auric field. People that had good Sun energy, an example that he's no longer living, but like Steve Jobs. Like him or hate him, like the company or hate the company, he was a good public speaker. He had the ability to sell anything and get you excited about things that you normally wouldn't be excited about. So that's an example of a public speaker that can really pull people into their energy. And you can do something, performers as well. If you think of the most popular singers, they have usually a stage persona, and they just have this ability to put it out there. So find your power, believe in yourself, have some fun, surround yourself with other people that can do that, and I think some good things can happen. Let's see if there's any other advice specifically for the energy of passion. What can you do to feel more impassioned? All right. What do we have here? 8 of Swords. You know what? You can't make everybody see things. I'm using with a deck that doesn't have a lot of images on it, so I'm just working with my mind here on this one. But so usually there's blindfolds on the 2 and the 8 of Swords, and we have a nod to that because the caption on this reads isolation. We also see a different indication of the wall that people build because they don't want to see certain things. So part of what might be really cool is you're going to make a splash because people didn't see it coming. And that's the power on this one, is they didn't see it coming. All right, one last card, and then we'll move into the final portion here. And I'll see if there's anything else after the meditation. But dragons, what do I think of? I think of fire. I think of voice. I think of kind of like really putting it out there. So what can you do to really kind of push something out? We're thinking of fire. How can you breathe life into something? It's the one piece that's missing. I want to move to a different deck now. We'll go to the unicorn one for this one. How can you breathe life into something right here, right now? Interesting. This is unusual Nine of Wands here. So the Nine of Wands to me is usually very close to completion. And this is very much akin to like what I would see with maybe Eight of Swords. So I see why the two are coming through here. Don't give up now. Here's the interesting thing. We could actually read the unicorn horn as the final wand here. So you've already got what it takes. There's an illusion. It's in your head. The key to success, the key to breathing life in something is simply to believe. And there's magic infused with the unicorn deck, which is why I liked it, the last unicorn. So this is really about you seeing that you can do it and believing that you can do it. When we somehow like lose faith or stop believing in ourselves, then the mysteries kind of go away, the magic kind of fades, and things get harder for us. So in this moment, I would really encourage you to believe in yourself, to embrace the possibilities, and to realize that you always had the key that you needed to get through something, to unlock your potential, okay? All right, we're gonna get ready now. We always have a final card at the end. So I want you to think about something this week that you want to unlock. So imagine that you have the key, but what is the door in front of you? What is it that you're unlocking? And what do you want some guidance on? So think about that, write it down. In just a moment, we'll get into that. We're gonna focus on a meditation, a sound bath, and a final card. For today's meditation, we're gonna help you engage with the energy of the dragon. Because the dragon can represent any of the 5 elements, I'm gonna let you pick the dragon that you feel most connected to. So close your eyes for a moment, and I'd like you to imagine that you are standing on the top of a mountain, and you have this potential to tap into any of the elements around you. It's just like the magician's table, plus the metal as well, since there can be 5 elements with Chinese philosophy. So think about what is it that you connect most with. When you look at the cup in front of you, you feel this energy of heart-based movement, passion. When you look at the fire, when you look at the wands, you feel this energy of potential and you get ideas. The sword makes you want to take flight, to take action. And the pentacles, the stone, the earth, it makes you feel like you could make anything grow. And so think of the element that calls to you, and whatever comes to mind when you think of metal, that's fine as well. Looking at all the elements in front of you, plus the extra one on the magician's table, when you're ready, touch one of those talismans, and then imagine that these beautiful wings form beneath or on the back of you. And I'd like you to think of what it is that you'd like to create in your life. And even though each has a different element, they can all breathe fire. So imagine now that you could mold, fashion, or create something from the elements of your choice and breathe life into it. And as I play the singing bowl here in just a moment, with each breath that you take, imagine that you're getting a step closer, just like that 3 of Wands, until maybe it's right in front of you and you just didn't realize it. So keep breathing, start to stretch your wings out, and imagine what is next. Take a few deep breaths. Allow yourself now to focus on a place on the horizon where whatever it is that you sought to create, you can see it, you can feel it, you can breathe it. And realize now that you've also created something of your own here because you were fashioning something at the magician's table. Take that talisman and place it over your heart. Take a few deep breaths. Come back into your earthly body. On the next exhale, I'd like you to think of your final card and open your eyes if you haven't already. Your final question for me, rather, as I look at the final card. And let's give the cards a shuffle and see what wants to come through. Well, it's success. We like this. All right, we have the Six of Wands, a beautiful card, a beautiful message. So the main thing here for you to think about is I can, I will, I am. Really having some faith and having some belief in yourself. Remembering this is like, it's the third time at least, because I had it as a card that I put in my presentation. It came through and now it's coming through again here. So the Six of Wands is basically reminding you that sometimes you lead the charge, and leading the charge can sometimes lack the sort of feedback that you need or that you're seeking, but you're exactly where you need to be. And what I like about this one is it's time to make a splash. Very rarely would you see that with the Six of Wands, but we have almost this kind of like King of Cups energy riding on the horse. So this is about wearing your heart on your sleeves, making a splash, and really putting it all out there and seeing what a difference you can make in the world. And I think it'll be exciting if you continue to do that. All right. As a yes or no, it's yes. But what I want people to realize is you don't need validation from me. You don't need validation from others. All you need to do to be successful is apply lessons from the past, feel a sense of fulfillment in all that you do, and feel like today you made a difference and you made some progress. Whether it was a tiny step or leaps and bounds, it's still progress. That's it. It's not what people think. It's not what people, how many likes, how many positive comments or anything like that. It's just like, was this right? Did it feel right? Good. It was right. Okay. And that's the only compass you need every single day. And the more you can get into that, the more people are going to look at you and think you're inspirational. How did he or she make that work? I don't know. How did they make it work? All right. So those are the messages for today. And yeah, we changed it up a little bit. I'm going to every single week add or subtract something just to change it up. So sometimes we'll do a Celtic Cross. Sometimes we'll do a free flow. Sometimes we'll do the expanded forecast. Sometimes we won't. Sometimes there'll be something completely different. Because it's fun. Once we hit the milestone, it might just be a Q&A one of these weekends too. So we're real close to that. So by the way, do me a favor, if you're brand new, hit subscribe. It's easy, it's worth it, it helps. Hit the like, it's free, it costs nothing. And opt into bell notifications because sometimes I throw out special readings and you don't want to miss. Also follow me on social media. It's always my full name, no special spellings. And by the way, no monkey business when it comes to DMs, private readings, second accounts, Telegram, I don't know. None of that's real. So if anyone's offering you some of that stuff, block them, ignore them, report them. You can also, there's a quick form on my site. You can let me know and I'll report them too. There's some crazy folks out there. All right. If you'd like to give back in the way of super sticker, super chat, or membership, please feel free to do so. It helps the channel. And I saw someone at the beginning gifted some memberships, which is so cool. Once we get to the milestone, like I said, I'll be doing something special where we can do a Q&A. All right, give me a minute here and I'm going to pull up those of you that gave back today. I want to say thanks and welcome to everybody, whether you're a member or just watching on your phone or your TV. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just glad that you're here. I am going to say thanks to the newest members, and then I will give some gratitude for any stickers given today as well, just because it's nice. Gratitude's good. All right, so for all of you that are new or gifted a membership or rejoined, I'm just going to say your first names to the best of my ability and quickly give you a little bit of love here. So, or read the screen name if there's no first name. So to Flow in Abundance, Yvonne, Joanne, Dog Mom, Mermaid, Marcia, Sapo, Balance Glow, MC, and Aqualian Soul Galaxy. Thank you so much. If I missed anybody, I'll say thank you later or just acknowledge it in the comments. All right, for super stickers and super chats, give me one moment here and I'll give a little bit of love to everybody that helped out today. All right, so I'm going to just read off everybody to start with, and then I'll call out any extraordinary ones as well. So again, first names or screen names if there's no first name. Yoga Rising, Lori, I think it is, Phoebe, Melissa, Renita, Lucy, Robin, Laura, Colleen, Cynthia, Allison, Paula, Cheryl, April, Carmen, Diana, Jeannie, Deborah, and Milan, also Eileen. And special thanks to those that gave back a little bit more, including Eileen, April, Cheryl, and Renita as well. I appreciate that. That definitely helps. And I'm on the precipice of actually starting something new. More to come. We're a few months away from this, but I'm working on producing a podcast. So this is actually going to help more than you know. I'll be putting some of that into the creation of that and getting some equipment and setting up some things for that. So more to come. That'll probably launch the middle of the year because it takes time to get all the episodes produced. But thank you. I am actually putting it back into development of programs for the channel. So something brand new, middle of the year, summertime in the Northern Hemisphere. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks to Dakota for your help today. I know we probably also got some folks that did anniversaries, like, let's see, Melissa. I can only see the last few. Melissa and Andrea, and let's see if there's anyone else. April. So to all that celebrated anniversaries beyond what I can see here, thank you so much for those as well. I know Dakota recognized that, and I do see it when I go back and look at this on replay. All right, everyone, a reminder of my broadcast schedule. I am live every single Sunday for one of these collectives. They change every week. Someone gave me a good idea, which maybe one week I'll just do Reader's Choice as one of your 5 options, and I can just pick something that I feel inspired to do. But otherwise, you vote on the 5 choices, and I kind of go with it and see where it takes me each and every weekend. Every day I do a single card pull. Every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, I do a monthly reading. We read 1 month ahead, and give me a little bit of time, but by this evening, I'll have all of the 3 that are upcoming for this week listed. I already have Mondays. They're almost always around 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And again, I'm putting that daylight piece in because now that's an hour different than it used to be until Europe catches up to us. All right, folks, have a great day. Thank you so much. Lots of love and light. Stay warm for those of you that are dealing with inclement weather. If you're in Australia, enjoy, what's left of the summer here. You guys deserve it. Everyone else, wishing you lots of love and light. I'll see you soon. Have a great day, okay? Thanks so much. Bye-bye.